travel phone. It's coming. It's like we move so slowly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Little Theater. My name is Adam Brown, Director of Theater Inc., Newton North High School's teaching and working theater. We appreciate you joining us tonight. We're so excited to kick off the season with this production tonight. It's a collaboration between Theater Inc. and the Newton Theater Company. Now, NTC is a brand new company here in Newton, founded by director, Newton resident, and parent, Melissa Bernstein. And the Newton Theater Company, yes. Baby, so to speak. We're so excited to work with them, and the Newton Theater Company is all about bringing folks from Newton, whether it's students, community members, everybody together to create really incredible pieces of art, original pieces, bringing classic pieces together. And tonight is just one piece of what you're probably going to see over the next many years here in Newton. It's an incredible piece. And we're so fortunate to be able to work with New York Times best-selling author Madeline Miller, who wrote it's just been a great collaboration. As you know, last year we produced the first half of the book, and tonight we're finishing the story, so we're not going to leave you hanging. We're so fortunate to have Madeline with us tonight in the audience, and we'll be having a talk back right after the show, after the curtain call tonight. There'll be a brief 4 or 5 minute pause between then, so you can, if some of you need to leave, we understand that. But it's going to be incredible talk back, get to find out about the process, talk to the actors, the director, the technical folks who worked on the show. I'd also like to remind you at this time to please turn off all electronic devices, and that the taking of flash photography is prohibited during the show tonight. And there will be a brief pause between the prologue and Act 1. It'll be about 5 or 6 minutes. It gives you a chance to stand up, stretch. If you need to run out real quick, go quick and then run back in. She came back. So without further ado, Song of Achilles, Part 2, Troy.
At last the day for our departure came. Our ship was a beauty, sleek and slim as a knife point, meant to cut the sea. The ship's boards were still sticky with new resin. We leaned over the railing to wave our last farewell, the sun-warm wood pressed against our bellies. The sailors heaved up the anchor and loosened the sails. Then they took their seats at the oars that fringed the boat like eyelashes, waiting for the count. The drums began to beat, and the oars lifted and fell, taking us to Troy. down?
Come on.
Hey. That's it. Agamemnon's here.
But first to Aulis, where Agamemnon's mighty force assembles in a single place before it sails for Troy. Our men, the Myrmidons, disembark on the beach. They are chanting their prince's name. 2,500 men speaking as one.
Achilles! 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 Achilles!
As if in answer, the air changes. Bright sunlight pours over Achilles, rolling down his hair and back and skin, turning him to gold. He seems suddenly larger. His hair catches the light like a flame.
Thetis. It could be no one else. She is pulling his divinity forth, mantling it like a cream over every inch of his skin, helping her son make the most of his dearly bought fame.
On the shore, a pathway has been left open to him where the kings gather. Agamemnon steps forward. It is Achilles' turn to kneel to our commander. He does not kneel.
I am Achilles, son of Peleus, god-born, best of the Greeks. I come to bring you victory!
Yeah!
Agamemnon, lord of men, we have brought the Prince Achilles to pledge his allegiance.
I come freely to offer my aid to your cause. I am honored to fight with so many noble warriors of our kingdom.
Indeed, I have the finest army in the world, and I welcome you to it, young Prince of Thea. It is a pity you were so slow to come. Men of Greece, we have delayed long enough. We leave for Troy tomorrow. Repair to your camps and make yourselves ready!
Yeah!
Wherever we go, we are observed. Achilles smiles and greets the men as we pass them. I hear the words whispered from behind ears, broken teeth, calloused hands. Aristos Achaia. Was he really as Odysseus and Diomedes had promised? Did they really believe his slender limbs could hold against an army of Trojans? Could a boy of 16 really be our greatest warrior? And everywhere, as I watch these questions, I see also the answers. Yes! They nod to each other. Yes! Yes! The next morning, I wake in a pool of sweat, my skin puckered and parched. Outside, the air hangs heavy and humid. It is quiet. Strangely so, there is no flapping of canvas, no jingle of an unsecured harness. Even the sea is silent, flat as a polished bronze mirror.
There is no wind. We will not leave today.
The wind does not come, not that day, or that night, or the next day either.
My mother says the weather's not natural. It's a message from the gods.
A month passes. Another month. We are all going mad by the weight of the motionless air.
Finally, word comes. Agamemnon has spoken to the chief priest, Calchas.
Calchas believes we have offended the goddess Artemis.
Iphigenia, Agamemnon's daughter and the youngest priestess of Artemis, has been invited to the camp to preside over the ritual of sacrifice.
Gather the cattle and mix the honey wine in preparation.
Then we hear more. This girl is being brought from Mycenae, not just for the ceremony, but for marriage to one of our kings.
Prince Achilles, I have a proposition for you. Perhaps you've heard that I have a daughter, Iphigenia. I would wish her to be your wife.
Agamemnon offers you a great honor, Prince of Thea.
Yes, and I thank him. I'm honored that you think of me.
Sadly, you'll only have a night together before she must leave again. Though, of course, much may happen in a night.
It will be good, I believe, a wedding. Good for our families, good for the men.
I accept, Agamemnon. I'll be proud to name you father-in-law.
Iphigenia is a good girl.
I am sure she is. Be honored to have her as a wife.
Iphigenia arrives. The wedding is set to take place in our makeshift marketplace. Agamemnon stands on the dais, flanked by Odysseus. Achilles waits at the dais aside, as groups do. Iphigenia walks to the dais, her eyes searching for the husband she has been promised. She finds him and smiles at what she sees.
Then the girl stumbles. I remember Achilles frowning.
Agamemnon yanks something from his belt. The knife falls against her throat. Blood spurts over the altar, spills down her dress.
The goddess is appeased.
Who knows what will happen next?
The air is exposed to the iron salt smell of the dead.
Human sacrifice is an abomination.
And his own daughter.
There is
violence in us.
Then, before we can move, we feel something. Soft and cool against our cheeks and smelling like the sea. Wind! The wind has come. The goddess is appeased.
I should have done something. I was close enough. I could have saved her.
You could not have known. Odysseus, you let them murder her.
What makes you think I could have stopped them?
You would have if she had been your daughter.
I don't have a daughter.
Your wife, then? What if she had been your wife?
What do you wish me to say? That I would not have done it?
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't have. But perhaps that's why Agamemnon is king of Mycenae, and I rule only Ithaca.
Her death is on your head.
You give me too much credit. I'm a counselor only, Patroclus, not a general.
You lied.
About the wedding, yes. It was the only way Clytemnestra, her mother, would allow the girl to come.
You dishonored him.
The men have already forgotten he was part of it. They forgot when the girl's blood spilled.
It is convenient for you to think so.
You are angry, and not without reason. But why come to me? I did not hold the knife or the girl.
There was blood.
All over her.
Do you know what that did to him?
He has a tender heart. An admirable quality, surely. If it helps his conscience, tell Achilles I placed him where he was on purpose, so he would see too late. Can I give you some advice? If you're truly his friend, you'll help him leave the soft heart behind. He's going to try to kill men, not to rescue them. He is a weapon, a killer. Do not forget it. You may use a spear as a walking stick, but that will not change his nature.
He is
But
not.
he is. The best the gods have ever made, and it is time that he knew it, and you did too. If you hear nothing else I say, hear that. I do not say it in malice.
You are wrong.
What was it like when you killed that boy?
Like.
What did it look like?
The blood came quickly, I remember that. And I couldn't believe how much there was. I remember the sound his head made against the rock.
Did he twitch? Like animals do?
I did not stay long enough to watch.
My father told me once to think of them like animals. The men I kill. I do not think I can bear it. I cannot stop seeing it. Her death.
It will not always be like that. She was a girl and innocent. These will be men you fight. Warriors who will kill you if you do not strike first.
But you will not fight even if they strike at you first. You hate it.
Because I do not have the skill.
I do not think that's the only reason.
Perhaps not.
But you will forgive me?
I have no need to forgive you. You cannot.
Water snake. Remember what Chiron taught us? Deadly bite.
I did not even see it.
You did not have to. I saw it.
2 days later, we reached Troy. From the ship, we see the shoreline of Troy. Tall trees, mountains, green brown land.
There are men on the beach! They knew we were coming!
They are waiting for us.
Agamemnon has no order. Hold position.
Do not make landfall.
The tide is dragging us in.
We are almost in range of their arrows.
I do not see Achilles move, but I hear it, the whistle of air and his soft exhalation. The spear is out of his hand and flying across the water that separates our deck from the beach. It is a gesture only. No spearman can throw half so far as an arrow can fly. It will fall well short. It does not! Its black head pierces the Trojan's chest! Arrows are flying on both sides!
Stay behind me.
Our men slide down ropes, lift huge shields for cover, and stream to shore. The Trojans are ready, but the shore offers no natural defense system, and we outnumber them. They relinquish the beach.
Now in safety, we pull our ships onto the sand and draw lots for the placement of each kingdom's camp. That night, Agamemnon calls the first council meeting. The kings are divided between attack and diplomacy.
I will gladly go treat with them. It is my office to do so.
What have we come all this way for, Menelaus, if you intend to talk them into surrender? I could have stayed home.
We are not savages. Perhaps they will hear reason.
But likely not. Why waste time?
Because, dear King of Argos, if war comes after some diplomacy or delay, we do not seem so much the villains.
You are for it, then, Ithaca.
There are many ways to start a war. I always think raiding makes a good beginning. It accomplishes the same thing as diplomacy, but with greater profit.
Yes, Odysseus is right. Raids first, then perhaps we will send an embassy. We begin tomorrow. One last thing. If there is an attack, I do not want chaos. We must have lines and companies. Menelaus and I will take the center, of course.
Very wise, King of Mycenae. Messengers will be able to find you easily.
Exactly so. On my brother's left, the Prince of Thea, Odysseus on my right, Diomedes and Ajax take the wings. The rest shall be determined by lot. It is settled. We begin tomorrow. Raids up, son up!
Yeah! Those men you killed on the beach, did you think of them as animals like your father said?
No, I did not think at all.
Are you frightened?
This is what I was born to do.
The next morning, lying on our bed, I listened to his shouted orders, the stamps and snorts of horses, the chariot wheels. At least I do not have to fear for his safety. As long as Hector lives, he cannot die. But when he returns, he is covered in blood. Is he hurt? And then I see it is not his blood he is covered in.
They could not get close enough to touch me. I did not know how easy it would be. Like nothing. The men cheered me afterwards. I wish you had seen.
How many?
12.
Farmers.
Armed men. I would never kill an unarmed man.
How many will you kill tomorrow, do you think? I'm sorry. Tell me what it was like. All of it. And he does. Everything. How his first spear had pierced the hollow of a man's cheek, and how the second man had fallen, struck through the chest. I listen to every word, imagining it is a story only, dark figures on an urn he speaks of, instead of men.
With the raids come the distributions. This is a custom of ours. The awarding of prizes, the claiming of war spoils. First allotment usually goes to the army's best soldier, but Agamemnon names himself first, and then Achilles. After Achilles, Ajax, then Diomedes, and then Menelaus.
In the third week, a girl mounts the dais amongst the swords and rugs and gold.
The men gather eagerly. We know what her presence means. Agamemnon has given us permission for camp followers, for spear wives and bed slaves.
Take her. Take her as your prize before Agamemnon does. Please, you see the way he looks at her. You know his reputation. He will not be kind to her. Please.
Men of Greece! Ah! Great King of Mycenae.
Heletus.
I would have this girl as my war prize.
Huh. I grant your wish, Prince of Thea. She is yours.
I will leave my men here to gather the rest of my belongings. The girl will come with me now. Come.
Let me untie you. No, no, we are not going to hurt you. I am going to free you. What is your name? My name is Patroclus. Patroclus. I'm sorry, I am frightening you. I will leave you.
Briseis.
What?
Briseis.
Briseis. You are safe here. There is a girl or two on the dais every night. I send Achilles to ask for them, to seek as many as he can, to save them from the voraciousness of the kings. The men tease him about his own insatiability.
I didn't even know you liked girls.
Briseis takes care of them. Soon we have to build a tent large enough to fit them all. 8, 10, 11 girls. Mostly it is I who speaks to them. Achilles stays away. He knows that they have seen him killing their brothers, lovers, fathers. Some things cannot be forgiven.
As triumphant as the raids are, they are only raids.
We are killing farmers, not soldiers.
Where is the fight we were promised?
Close. It is only a matter of time.
And then one day a soldier on watch runs down the beach to tell Agamemnon the news. King Priam will receive an embassy.
The camp is afire with the news.
One way or another now, something will happen.
They will release Helen, or we will fight for her properly in the field.
The Council of Kings said the obvious choices, Menelaus and Odysseus.
They return at nightfall, alone.
King Priam received us warmly, he and Hector and Paris and his other 48 sons. But Priam explained that if Helen did not wish to leave, she did not have to. He said she had requested his protection and he would honor her request.
Clever. They have found a way around their guilt.
We told them if they were so resolved, there was no more to say.
Indeed there is not. We have tried diplomacy and been rebuffed. Our only honorable course is war. Tomorrow, you go to win the glory you deserve. Every last man of you.
Yeah! Every last man. How could I not have thought of this? Of course I would be expected to fight. We were at war now, and all had to serve. Especially the closest companion of Aristos Achaeon. That night I barely sleep. The fates had said nothing of me, nothing of how long I would live. I wake Achilles in panic.
I will be there.
In the dark before dawn, Achilles helps me arm. We join the Myrmidons. Achilles out front, then rank upon rank of Theon. Before us lies the wide plain of Troy, ending in the massive gates and towers of the city.
Stay behind me.
We lurch into a run. The front lines collide in an explosion of sound, a burst of sprayed splinters, bronze and blood. Achilles appears from somewhere. He grins at me, then turns and leaps into a clump of Trojans. I never kill anyone or even attempt to. Constant fear siphons and drains me, even though somehow I am always in a lull. A strange pocket of emptiness into which no men come, and I am never threatened. It takes me until mid-afternoon to see that it is Achilles' doing. His gaze is on me always, instinctively sensing the moment a soldier's eyes widen at the easy target I present. Before the man draws another breath, Achilles cuts him down. He is a marvel. Shaft after shaft flying from him, spears that he wrenched easily from broken bodies on the ground to toss at new targets. Again and again I see his wrist twist, exposing its pale underside, flute-like bones thrusting elegantly forward. I cannot see the ugliness of the deaths anymore. The brains, the shattered bones. All I can see is his beauty, his singing limbs, and the quick flickering of his feet.
Dusk comes at last and releases us, limping and exhausted, back to the tents, dragging the wounded and dead. A good day, an auspicious beginning. Tomorrow, we do it all again.
We do it again and again. A day of fighting becomes a week, a month, a year.
My visits to the field fade to only when Achilles asks me to join him. Sometimes, as I watch him, I catch sight of a square of ground where soldiers do not go. It is near Achilles, and if I stare at it, it becomes light and lighter at last. It reluctantly yields its secret, a woman, white as death, taller than the men who toil around her. No matter how the blood sprays, It does not fall on her pale gray dress. Her bare feet do not seem to touch the earth. She does not help her son. She does not need to. Only watches, as I did with her huge black eyes. I cannot read the look on her face. It might be pleasure, or grief, or nothing at all. From far off, glimpsed only quickly through the corridors of shifting men, I sometimes see Hector. He is always alone, strangely solitary in the space the other men give him. He is capable and steady and thoughtful, every movement considered. I never try to get closer to him, and neither does Achilles, who carefully turns from his glimpsed figure to face other Trojans. Afterwards, when Agamemnon asks when he will confront the Prince of Troy, Achilles smiles his most guileless, maddening smile.
What has Hector ever done to me?
His mother. Some part of me had hoped foolishly that she would not follow us here, that her grief would keep her away, or the distance, but of course they do not. The shore of Anatolia is no more inconvenient than the shore of Greece. And her grief only makes her visits longer. He leaves at dawn, then returns when the sun is nearly at its peak. What can she possibly have to say to him for so long? Some divine disaster? Some celestial dictate that will take him from me? Perseus, wishing to be of comfort, waits with me for his return.
I am sure he will return soon. Why does he stay so long?
His mother is a goddess, a sea nymph. He goes to see her.
I had thought he was something. He does not move like a human.
What does a human move like?
Like you, what I meant. No, not like that.
I thought I'd find you here.
What did you talk about with your mother?
She's worried about me.
Why?
She says there's a strangeness among the gods, that they are taking sides in the war, fighting with each other. She fears that they have promised me fame, but not how much. I think she's afraid someone else will kill Hector before me.
Who does she mean?
I don't know. Ajax has tried and failed. Diomedes too. They are the best after me. There's no one else I can think of.
What about Menelaus?
Never. He's brave and strong, but that is all. He would break against Hector like water on rock. So, it is me or no one.
You will not do it.
No. But I can see it. That's the strange thing, like in a dream. I see myself throw the spear. I watch him fall, and I walk up to the body and stand over it.
And then what?
That's the strangest of all. In my dream, I know my death is coming, but I do not mind. What I feel most of all is relief.
Do you think it can be prophecy?
No. It's nothing at all. A daydream.
I'm sure you're right. After all, Hector hasn't done anything to you.
Yes, I've heard that.
During the long hours of Achilles' absence, I begin to stray from our camp, seeking something to occupy myself.
If you're looking for something to do, McCann always needs help.
I am pointed towards the white physician's tent. Inside, McCann is bending over a wounded man's leg.
You can't be so wounded if you can stand for so long.
No, I'm not.
Well?
Do you need help?
Sit down, hold this out for me. Oh wait, they brought another. You take him.
I'd set to work. Later, McCann would tell me how well the wounded man's leg healed. With no infection and little pain, the skills Chiron had taught me served me well. And I find myself in McCann's tent more and more, helping out where I could. What a strange time. Over us, every second hangs the terror of Achilles' destiny, while the murmurs of the war among the gods grow louder. But the days pass, and he lives. The months pass, and I can go a whole day without looking over the precipice of his death. The miracle of a year, then 2. Our camp begins to form a sort of family, drawn together around the flames of the dinner fire. It was on one of these nights that Achilles asked Briseis what she knew of Hector.
I do not know much. I have never seen him nor any of Priam's family.
But you have heard things.
A little. I know more of his wife.
Anything.
Her name is Andromache, and she is the only daughter of King Aetion of Cilicia. Hector is said to love her above all things. He first saw her when he came to her father's kingdom for tribute. She welcomed him and entertained him at the feast that evening. At the night's end, Hector asked her father for her hand.
She must have been very beautiful.
People say she is fair, but not the fairest girl Hector might have found. She is known for her kind spirit and gentle temper. The country people love her because she brings them clothes and food. She was pregnant, but I have not heard what became of the child.
Where is Cilicia?
It is to the south, not far from here, along the coast.
We raided Cilicia. Did you know?
No.
I remember that man Aetion. He had 8 sons. They tried to hold us off.
Killed them.
Yes.
I knew he killed men every day. He came home wet with their blood. But there were moments, like now, when that knowledge overwhelmed me, when I would think of all of the tears that he had made fall, and all the years that had passed. He seemed to sit across the world from me then, but he was so close I could feel his warmth rising from his skin. His hands, though spear calloused, were still beautiful. No hands had ever been so gentle or so deadly.
We left one son alive, the 8th son, so that their line would not die.
Strange that such a small kindness feels like grace, and yet what other warrior would have done as much? This surviving son would have children. He would give them his family's name and tell their story. Go ahead.
It is strange. I've always said Hector has done nothing to offend me. He cannot say the same now.